well, that's getting bad down on the south coast. Mr. Lafarge, Garage, whatever his name is, he reckoned there were 52 boats the other day. And even if they're sticking to COVID rules, you know, like 6 a boat, that's a lot of people. That's too many. And of course, they're not playing ball, they're running off. You know, they're not what you might call genuine economic migrants. They're just flipping scallywags, that lot. So, you know, we've got to up the integration programme. And I've been thinking a lot about it, you know, because it's concerning me. We're going to start losing our identity in this country. We're just going to be overrun. That is an invasion now. You know, not like an official invasion, but we are going to have to start thinking about sort of military tactics and, you know, deploying them in terms of integration. Yeah, because you can't get nasty and sort of, you know, shoot them out the water or nothing like that. Well, I don't know, frogmen or something like that. That'd be all right, wouldn't it? Frogmen with butter knives or something like that. That'd be quite good, wouldn't it? So I was thinking, rather than, you know, I said before about the integration programme starting on the buses going up to London, because that's going to be a problem now, because there's only going to be able to be 6 of them, or 5 of them with a driver going up to London, to the posh hotels, at a time. 5 of them with a driver, that's all it can be now. So I was thinking maybe what we should do, we should start the integration programme over there on the other side, right? And we can have like a system of redcoats like you used to have in the holiday camps. But when I'm saying redcoats, I mean like redcoats from like the Victorian times, you know, with pith helmets and all that, and, you know, rifles with bayonets because they don't like it up and type thing, marching up and down in Calais, right? But, you know, helpful redcoats who've got a few non-racist jokes up their sleeve for now and again, and I don't know, maybe Punch and Judy, they could do a Punch and Judy show and, you know, show what our tradition is, our domestic traditions are through Punch and Judy and that, you know, because they need to know this sort of thing. They need to know what they're letting themselves in for, don't they? So we could have sort of proper redcoats, you know, from the Victorian time with pith helmets and bayonets and that sort of stuff, marching up and down there, but helpful ones, polite, all right? And they could even sort of give out things like food bank vouchers, stuff like that, all right, for when they get over here, if they're coming, because really what we need to be starting to do is trying to sort of educate them to rethink whether they're going to come or not. That's what we really need to be doing now. And then what you could do with your redcoats is you could have like, because that's our history, you could have just some of the clips from films like Zulu. Do you know what I mean? And then what we can do is we can have the same sort of redcoats marching up and down on the beach at Dover, all right, with bayonets and that, yeah. And, you know, they can sort of reenact a bit of the film sort of thing, because that's all part of our colonialism, you know, that's all part of our tradition and all that sort of stuff, you know. So that was one thing I was thinking of. I've been thinking all sorts of things, you know. We could have like sheds over on the other side of reintegration programs, and you know, we're going to need an awful lot now of used incontinence pads for the incontinence pad training that I devised already. And I'm not sure whether you can freeze them once they're used, you know, and get them over there for the training. But we're going to have to think about that and getting the training going over on the other side now, because there's so many of them arriving on the beaches. We're just not going to manage. That's not really fair, you know. I don't know what the frogs are doing, do you? Just letting them go, you know, they're just flipping. They ought to be doing something. Well, you know what's going on with Brexit. You know, maybe they're getting these people deliberately. Maybe the frogs are getting these people deliberately. Maybe they're sort of paying them to come to England or something like that. Because they don't care what happens to us anymore, do they? They never really have, the frogs. They've always been a bit Napoleonic and always had a bit of a sort of, what do they call that? Napoleon syndrome, don't they? Yeah, always been a bit like that. And their breath stinks. Really, it does, doesn't it? Anyway, sorry, I'm being a bit racist towards French people there. Well, I think you're allowed to be racist towards French people with comments like that about their smelly breath and that. I think that's allowed because they're white people. Anyway, where was I? Integration. I've sort of lost my thread. So yeah, red coats, incontinence pads on the continent. I just thought of that. Incontinence pads on the continent. That's a bit like that old joke about Frinton, isn't it, for the incontinent? That's been done to death, that one. Do you know what? When I was a policeman, that was written on a bog door in one of the mine places that we had to stay in up north. I don't know, Essex people, but no, well, limited imagination really. Anyway, what about? Oh yeah, I know. They need to know about paedophilia. Yeah, they do, because a lot of them. What we could do is we could sort of recruit them as paedophilia detective, undercover paedophilia detectives, because they do like to pretend that they're not as old as they actually are. They like to pretend, some of these non-genuine economic migrants, they like to pretend that they're only like 12 years old and stuff like that. So those ones that want to do that sort of stuff, what we could do is we could have them as paedophilia decoys, and we could train them up before they come and teach them, to go undercover with to search out paedophiles, and what to look for and how much paedophilia we've got going on in this country, and that'd sort of teach them some stuff. We need to get all that other stuff I was talking about, over the other side, and all that education about cricket boxes and genital reassignment and all that sort of stuff. We need to teach them all that if they're coming. What's the other thing I was thinking of? Oh yeah, what we could do with the red coats is they could do like drug dealer scenarios. They wouldn't actually sell any drugs, right? But what they could do is they could pretend they're dealers, because we've got a lot of that, and we could have sort of fake wafts of cannabis all around the red coats, but they wouldn't be in their red coats, all right? They'd be like undercover sort of bad guys, not in their red coats, and they would go around and they'd do what the dealers do, right, when there's a bit of debt or anything like that, and put the wind up people, threaten them and that. So we could do like sort of teaching, integration, street culture scenarios, yeah, over in Calais. So that's one we can cover. So it's paedophilia we can cover, drug dealing and violence, colonialism, incontinent pads on the continent. Oh gosh, I'm sure I thought of loads of other stuff. But anyway, I can always talk to you again, can't I? It's lovely talking to you, and it's a bit worrying now, but I think we can get round this. We need some red coats. We need you to send your used incontinence pads down to our headquarters on the south coast. If you can pack them up properly, please. Yeah, we don't want to spread anything nasty. And yeah, that's about it for now. But if I think of anything else, I can always come back to you, can't I? Yeah, God bless.